Warno launch is just around the corner, and I have had early access to the launch version, so we're just going to go through a few of the new features which you will find in the launch version. First thing is that the Army General campaigns are all in there, so you've got Krieg, which was already in early access, then you've got the Fulda Gap, Airborne Assault, the Left Hook, and Highway 66. For the single player enjoyers, this will be the meat and gravy of the game. I played, and you can play these in single player or you can play them in versus. So if we just go to multiplayer, you'll see that you can start an Army General game and you can invite people to them. I played the Left Hook with Integer, and we finished one turn in 6 hours. It took us 6 hours to do one turn. So there's a lot of content there. If you're playing single player, it might be a bit faster because you can speed things up and slow things down. Generally, I think it's quite well designed. For example, if you were to click on one of these, there would be an intro, and then people would start talking, and you would go into a map. So I guess I could just show you one now. And they've got the full Orbat for all these divisions. So yeah, and you can play as the other team if you want. You can set the difficulty, you can invite people, you can resume games, and you see that, well, I'll just let you watch this. They're all quite somewhat similar in their style.
War engulfs Europe. A week has passed since the Warsaw Pact's breakthrough at Fulda, with the Soviets and East Germans finally at the gates of Frankfurt. NATO's screening units have delayed the invasion significantly, buying enough time for fresh reinforcements to deploy. The Warsaw Pact is on the cusp of achieving its operational goals, but most of its frontline troops are spent. Few reserves remain for this critical last push. Meanwhile, NATO is marshalling its forces for a counterattack, but remains undecided on when and where to strike best.
The early sacrifices made by the 11th Armored Cavalry have not been in vain. Facing stiff resistance, the enemy was unable to capture Frankfurt. We now have multiple NATO units reinforcing the Sentag front. The moment has arrived to counterattack. 4 armored divisions and 2 infantry divisions are on the line. More units will deploy in the days to come. We have several options to roll back the Soviets and East Germans. Major?
The Bundeswehr's 5th Panzer Division in the north has been joined by the U.S. 3rd Armored Division. Capturing Alsfeld from the East Germans would force the enemy to Bad Hersfeld and Fulda. In the center, the U.S. 8th Infantry Division holds Hanau. Don't underestimate the Soviets. They might be bruised and battered, but they can still relaunch their offensive to take Frankfurt. We have multiple units reinforcing the Würzburg axis on the southern flank. With the support of the West German 12th Panzer Division, we can aim to punch through the stretched enemy lines and retake Schweinfurt and Bad Kissingen. Sir, the U.S. 1st Armored Division's arrival is imminent. We have some flexibility in where they should deploy. We can order them to the Würzburg sector. Or they can be commanded to deploy in Miltenberg. General, where do you want to deploy the U.S. 1st Armored Division?
I want them near the front, I guess, so I'll put them in Würzburg.
Understood, sir. We will relay your chosen location to the division.
So, this is Army General. Apparently it's my turn first. This is Army General, and as you can see, there's intros, there's a very big map, and there are lots and lots and lots of units. So, Krieg was very much a small, small snippet of what is to come. So, for example, I click on the Jaeger Battalion 126. These guys are already somewhat low on people. And you see that you've got all these units. If you fight with this battalion and you lose, for example, First Lieutenant Seeling's platoon here, they won't be in the next battle. They will be gone. So that's really cool. And if you just want an idea of the scale, for starters, I have 128 units that haven't moved this turn. Right? 128. You can go to the full Orbat. You can also view the opponent's Orbat. And you can see that, you know, within Sentag, we've got, for example, the 3rd Corps. and then we've got within that the 12th Panzer Division, and then within that the 34th Panzer Brigade, and within that Panzer Battalion 341, right? And then here are the units within Panzer Battalion 341. So you've got Leopard 2A1s, which we've not seen yet in game. And yeah, so lots of units that are so far only available in Army General. And you could say, I want to locate this. So this is where those guys are, right? And they're a full strength battalion. And as you can see, that's one. That's one of 5 within the 34 Panzer Brigade, and the 34 Panzer Brigade is one of 2 regiments, and then you've got this additional, these guys who are part of the division but not in their own brigade. And within the division you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see the scale of it. The scale is absolutely huge, and this is just one of the campaigns. And there are choices within the campaign. For example, you could deploy them over here or deploy them over there. The real winner for me is that you can play this with or against your friends. You can do 2v2 co-op in one of these Army General things. And I played it against Integer today. Not this one, I played a different one, the one with the Brits. And it took us 6 hours for us to get to turn 2. 6 hours. You'll see that there's also scheduled reinforcements. So on turn 5, I'll get first armored, which will give me another 4 units on the map. And on turn 6, I will get... Hang on, what? I'll get the 2nd Brigade of first armored, which will give me another 5 units on the map. Hang on, oh, right, okay, so this only gives me 4, then this will give me another 5, then this will give me another 4, and then this will give me another 4. And yeah, so you see that you also get reinforcements up here. You have the unit counter, right? How long is it going to take to get through to win? And so you need to get to 200 points, and the NATO player has to take some objectives here. Otherwise, they're just going to lose. So yeah, you can move your units around, you can attack people, but you'll already know this from Bruder Creed, right? It's the same kind of thing. So you can do an attack, and you can bring in artillery support, you can bring in air support, you can have auxiliary battalions if they're around. So yeah, it's very big, huge scale, and it'll keep the single player guys busy for a very long time. So that's the main new thing, right? In terms of the operations, I believe these 2 are new in launch. I might be wrong. But you'll know if you're a single player enjoyer. So that's it for the single player stuff. In terms of divisional changes, well, we'll get to that after we look at the new maps. There's also some changes to the existing maps. So for starters, Black Forest has changed. So we'll look at the new Black Forest duel. So you'll see that there's been some deforestation in the middle point. I mean, look at that. Some serious deforestation there. So now you can actually bring armor and stuff into this forest and actually do some fighting with that and do some plays, as opposed to it just being a big forest with a point in the middle. So I think that's fantastic. I'm really happy to see that. You'll also see that this point has gone from there to there, and this point has gone from here to there. So that should make attacking these points easier. I think this one would actually be harder to attack now, because when it was back here, people used to not defend this flank and you could just YOLO in. I am surprised that there's still nothing over here. It would have been cool. They could have just left these zones in as plus, and have these as +1s, and then left some +1s there. Foxtrot has also moved closer to this side. So that gives, because before blue would just get Foxtrot for free. Now red has a little bit of an extra hand, and Foxtrot can get into Foxtrot a little bit more easily there. Bravo's still the same, so blue would still gets a small advantage on Bravo, but it's lost a bit of its Foxtrot advantage. In terms of this side, because this is on a hill, it's difficult to know who's going to have the advantage here. Certainly, I think blue is going to... if blue holds this, there's some nice sight lines here, and they can keep it held. But yeah, I think maybe blue's got a bit of an easier time in challenge. Well, the thing is that they would find it harder to stage an attack because you can't just have people in the trees up here anymore. And then yeah, so really interesting changes there. Very happy to see that. The next one is so Death Row 2-player and Gator 2-player have been renamed Training. They're still the same. Hessa now has a 1v1 variant. I'm pretty happy with this one. I've played it once against Lathans on stream. If you go to my channel and click live, you'll see that I live streamed this the day it came out, and I played against Lathans. I played Berlin Groperungs, and he played 8th Infantry. And yeah, so you see on this map, there's two here, two here, two here. Still undecided who has the better side. I think it's quite even, to tell you the truth. I think Zulu is perhaps a little bit easier to defend than X-Ray, but I've only played one game on it so far, so I'm unsure. I am unsure. Yeah, so that's really cool. Next one is Mount River Duel. So they've changed Mount River. And there you go. So this is Mount River, and as you can see, they've done some serious deforestation here as well, just way fewer trees. And yeah, I think it's decent. The only problem I identified when playing this against Lathans today is that Papa's supposed to be the middle zone, but the guys on this side, blue in this case, gets to Papa about 10 seconds earlier than the guys on this side. So all I asked for was another zone here, and I think that would fix that problem pretty easily if they just put another zone here, because then red would have preferential access to this zone, and blue would have preferential access to this zone. But apart from that, it's a really fun 1v1 map. It's not as wide as it appears, because obviously this is basically all an unplayable area, unless you're an amphibious friend and you bring some supply with you, because there's no roads here, so you'd actually run out of fuel, so you got to bring some supply with you. And yeah, it's pretty easy to stop people from getting across here. So this is underutilized, and this is also not going to have too many people on it. You might be able to sneak some units around, but they're going to take a very long time. So it's basically this, and so I think it's a great map for 1v1. The one game I played on it was very enjoyable. Next one is, I think Two Lakes is the same. I don't think they've changed that. I'll just check. Yep, looks the same to me. So that's not changed. Death Row changed, to my knowledge. So Death Row, quote-unquote, 4-player has changed quite significantly. And I've not played a game on this yet. But I'm very, very happy that they've split the middle into 2 zones. I'm very, very happy to see that. Very happy to see that. And there's been some serious deforestation here, which actually makes it quite hard for you to hide your CVs. But my main source of joy is the fact that they've split this into 2 zones. The thing over here is that attacking here is going to be a lot harder, because you can, especially if you're attacking from this side and you want to take Foxtrot, that's going to be, you could go here, but hiding something here is probably not going to work. So that's interesting. So yeah, really happy to see this split in half. In terms of the tree changes, it's going to help armored divisions a lot, because there's less spaces for you to hide infantry. And I mean, it's still going to be just as hard to push back into these zones once you lose them. Although I suppose if you have, yeah, you can MLRS this quite easily and charge up there. Like this house especially has really good vision on all that, so maybe it is a bit easier to take these hills back. But now attacking the middle zone is a more viable objective, because if the spawn roads haven't changed, which I don't think they have, basically both sides are going to get into this at the start, because one gets here, unless you've got an AMX-10 RC down here, which would shoot that. And both sides are going to get in here at the start, because the guy here can get into this building, and the enemy would get into this building. So it's more, I think it's really good. I'm really happy about that. The next map is Chemical has changed as well. So this is chemical, and you see that finally, after years of asking, literally, they've opened up this side a bit. I mean, to be honest, I don't understand why they've, you know, could it not include this part? Is there some reason why not? But yeah, it's cool. You can attack down here now. And the main, you know, the big forest here has been cut up into pieces, which makes attacking it a bit different. Over here, some forest is gone. Over here, some forest is gone. So this is a much more isolated house now. And there's some good firing lines down there. So really interesting map there. Really interesting map there. And I played a game on this against Lowlie on stream, and I thought that was pretty cool. I did enjoy the new chemical. There's actually space for vehicles to do something here, as opposed to it just being one mega forest. You can actually use your vehicles, use your IFVs, get to positions where they can shoot. So very happy to see that change, and I hope you are too. The next one, I might miss one or two here. Oh yes, of course, Vertigo. So Vertigo has changed a lot. So as you can see, this point has moved to here and gone down by 1. This point has moved to here and gone down by 1. I think it's a shame they've done that. I like having these here, but I think they should have kept these at +1s. Why not? Why not? Why not reward the enemy player if you can get all the way over to here? And you'll see that the main change is that there's this big building block in the middle here, and there's been some changes here. So securing this forest is going to be very important if you want Alpha or Bravo, because you can basically shoot down the entire length of those zones from this forest here with a tank, cut off the reinforcements. So this is very important. You see there's been some deforestation here, so that when you're attacking, there are fewer places the enemy can't just sit an ATGM all the way across here. So that can be more useful. It also gives your tanks more avenue to shoot, and you could like break through here and do a cool attack. And of course, the main thing is that there's more houses. So there's some houses here, there's some houses here. So it's easier to push back into this once you lose it. It's not just big open field, you're done. And yeah, there's some houses here. There's obviously this big housing block here, which doesn't... There's no zone on it. But, you know, I don't see why not. I don't see why not have a zone there. But it does help you take these objectives. Like, if the enemy's got this, and he's got some ATGMs in there, for start... I mean, look at that, right? If he's got a tank sat behind this building, he's going to shoot all your reinforcements as they come down here. So that's a very important building there. Not so much true of the other side. So, looks like a bit of a disadvantage for this side here. Cause, yeah, if you get to there. But there's some fallback buildings here for this side. So, yeah, great to see the changes. I think this is all the same on this side. Looks the same to me. So that's really cool. Have I missed any? Have I missed any? I think that I'm pretty sure they changed... Well, what makes it an assault map? Why is it assault as opposed to normal? Is that just because it's not dual? So yeah, that's the same. So I'm not sure what's changed there. Oh, there's an extra zone back here. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, okay. And then I guess this got even smaller, and the zones are literally squares. Yeah, very exciting. And of course, the one we've all been waiting for is Cripple, which has changed. Has tension changed? I don't think so. But yeah, I'll show you Cripple. So Cripple's changed quite a bit. I was talking to Integer about it, and he pointed something out. But basically, there's no big open field anymore. This has all been cut up. So that's a more interesting fight there. These zones have changed slightly, but these zones are basically the same on the sides. So you can still get your big open fights on the sides, and you can get your less open fight in the middle. So that's really cool. Being able to hop between these islands of cover makes it so that you don't... Because otherwise it's just a big YOLO attack from here to here on the old version. And then if you don't make it all the way, you lose, because if you're sat in the open with no cover, then you lose, right? So I think that's cool. I do like that map change. I think that's all of them. I'm just going to very quickly check loop and see if they changed it. I hope they didn't. I like loop. I mean, it is a bit imbalanced, but... no, that looks... Oh, wow, that has changed. That has changed. So, yeah, loop has changed as well. You see there's these trees have gone. So, and these trees have gone. And what else have they done? Like, does this get... Because before... Well, I don't know about that, to tell you the truth, because the main issue hasn't been addressed, and the main issue was that this side, you know, the enemy would get to the town the same time that you get to the open, and on this side, the enemy would get here the same time as you, but he's got a fallback house, and he's got these things over here which help him get across here to secure this. So by removing these trees, they've nerfed this side. Which was already the weaker side. So I'm not so sure about that. I don't really agree with it, to tell you the truth. I think that is a nerf to the weaker side. So I'm not sure why they've done that. I'm not sure why they've nerfed the weaker side, giving them less cover. I mean, they've nerfed this side a little bit as well, but look, you can actually shoot from there to here. That is wild. So if you put something here, you could shoot all that. But if you put something here, you know, the vision is very spotty because of the approximation. You know, you might be able to shoot a little bit up here. You'd be able to shoot back, of course. But yeah, look, putting one tank there is absolutely killer. Well, okay, it's 3,000 meters. Putting one cool recon unit there is absolutely killer. I don't know about that. That's an interesting change, to say the least. Well, I'm going to just have to go through all of them now, because maybe some of the other ones have changed, but Two Lakes didn't seem to change. I don't know if Two Ways has changed. There's been a lot of discussions about Two Ways. So, Two Ways has not changed. This looks the same. And... let's have a look at... let's have a look at Tension. I don't think it will have, because this is one of the newest maps, so I don't see what they would change. If they have changed it, would I even notice? I don't think they've changed it. I don't think they've changed it, because this was always here. Very dark map. So there you go, that's it for the maps. So now we'll talk about the division balance. Originally I was going to split this into loads of different videos, but I don't see the point in wasting your time like that. So... division balance changes. So as always, there's been a lot of price changes across the board. The first thing we'll look at is one of the new units. So first UK Armoured, not really changed too much, except they get a new unit, the Warrior Applique. So I'm not sure why it's got a French name, but it's got one more armor on the front and the side, and it's got a Milan 2 instead of a Milan 1. So if you try and buy that, it's 100 points, so you might want to bring it at 2 vet. It's very cool. It's sort of like a BMP2. Costs the same as a BMP2. And so that's a new unit for first UK Armoured. Nothing else has really changed at all in this division, apart from a nerf to SAS Patrol. They used to be 6 availability, now they're 4. And I think that... oh yeah, the Javelin LMLs came down in price by 5 points. If you're bringing this, you're a fool. Basically, it's just been massively over-nerfed. For some reason, it's just got this mega aim time, and, you know, it's very difficult to shoot anything down with this, so I would just be bringing tracked rapiers, regular javelins, and relying on your Air Force. Going through the divisions which have been nerfed, so Big Win, Rover FC Supply is now 5 points cheaper, so it is now... because it's a stat clone of the Unimog supply, but it used to cost more than the Unimog supply, so... complaining got that fixed basically, so you see that that's now the same price for the same unit. So that's great news. Was the Rover Wombat 45 before? I know the SPG-9 trucks are still 50. For some reason this is called a Spado SPG-9, okay. And yeah, you see the SP... oh, it's got more range, right? More rate of fire. Yeah, so I can understand why it costs more. The next thing, so Saxon's changed its name. It's called AT-105 Saxon. I don't know what was wrong with Saxon. And then the Air Mobile Pioneers went up by 5 points, which is ridiculous. These values haven't changed, it's just the colors changed. And the main thing is that the Lynx rocket is now 80 points. So it's very difficult to justify bringing many cards of those because you just can't afford them. So that's a big nerf. Air Mobile also went up in price by 5 points. So now they're just really, really expensive for what they are. Air Mobile Pioneers also lost an availability there. But these go 8.5 and these go 7.5, so you might as well just bring them at 2 vet. There was a new unit added to the Terriers. They get the Saracen. The Saracen, it looks very cool. Great flavor. Great to see the flavor. But it is just a bad Saxon in terms of the stats and everything. I think that's it for this tab. And then switching to the next tab, all howitzers. I forgot to mention this. All howitzers now get a dispersion with distance. And same with the MLRS. So that's been 2.5 years in the making. So it's great to see this happen. Very, very happy to see that. These Air Mobile Scouts were also nerfed. Their availability went down. It used to be 8.5, now it's 5.3. And here's a new unit, the Saladin. So the Saladin is like a wheeled scorpion, basically. It's like a cross between a scorpion and a fox. It's got good stealth and very good optics. I don't know why when, like this is an older copy of this, basically, and this is smaller, but it's got less stealth. It doesn't make sense to me, but there you go, new unit, very cool. Already spoke about, like, this thing's still too expensive. These guys came down by 5 points, which we spoke about. The FI toe is now no longer 120 points, which was a bit silly. It's 100. You can decide for yourself if that's worth it. Apparently it can two-shot any tank in the game, but good luck getting 2 shots on target. But yeah, it used to just be a straight downgrade. Like, you could just bring 2 Hell Arms for the same price as before, and they've even got double the availability, so now that's not the case anymore. And I'm pretty sure this is all the same. So that's 2nd UK. The next one up will cover 82nd Airborne. So 82nd Airborne got nerfed quite a bit. So the Airborne regular have gone up in price by 10 points. To be honest, they are very spammable for how good they are. So that makes sense. I agree with that. And yeah, I'm happy to see it. These light howitzers are better now because of the changes to the dispersion. And the Sheridan's 100 points, which is just wild. I honestly think that every unit in the game should just cost what it's worth at a 1-to-1 comparison to all of the divisions, and then you can balance the divisions by adding or removing tools from those divisions, or lowering availability, right? So you can make less per card. I don't think it's a good idea to have prices that are literally just all over the place. And this is a great example of that. That is not worth 100 points, so I don't agree with that. This has gone up in price by 10 points, and it went down in price before, right? So to be honest, I think that's probably worth it still. The Lav is now 100 points. Same thing again. Basically, the reason this is OP is because it one-shots like 1 or 2 volleys any helicopter. So as soon as you try and spot it when it's in your backline, you try and get away, and it immediately eviscerates you. So the solution apparently is to make it expensive rather than make it so the autocannons don't one-shot the helicopters. This has also gone up in price. I'm not entirely sure by how much. That's interesting. Well, snipers 30 this... I thought... Sniper. I could have sworn they were more. Yeah, I thought they were 35 before. So maybe they have come down. I mean, this is obviously a special forces. Maybe that's why that's more expensive. We were covering 82nd, weren't we? Over here, I'm pretty sure these are all the same. And, yeah, so the F-16s... I thought the price went up, but actually it hasn't. The price is the same. But they've made it so that it's not 2 per card anymore, which is a really big deal, because now you can't just bring 2 of them easily. Like, you'd have to get rid of the A-10 if you want to bring 2 of these, which is probably what most people will end up doing. Or get rid of the AT plane, or just bring 2 of these. Or just bring 1 and then get upset when it dies. So that's a nerf, and that division has been nerfed. Next up, let's go through the other airborne ones. We've got 11E. So 11E lost the reservists, which was a change that I and others advocated for, so pat yourselves on the back. For some reason, Chasseurs Paras are now 10 availability. Who knows why, but they start at 0 vet. And now you've got this new unit replacing the reservists, the Paras Marine. And these are literally just Legionnaire Paras without the Resolute tag. Like, that's the only difference. They've just not got the Resolute tag, and they are 10 points cheaper. So that's... And you... What? You get 5? So, to be honest, I think this division might have been buffed. I really do, because that's a very, very good squad. And it's replacing the reservists, so that they're not going to run out of stuff, right? So that's an interesting change. The Saggies went up. Where are my Saggies? The Saggies went up by 20 points. I don't know, really. Basically, the realism guys come along, quote-unquote realism guys come along, and they say that this 90mm shell on this low-velocity gun can fire 2,200. It can fire the max range, can fire the same as a M1A1, fire the same range with its 90mm gun. And then the balance guys come along and say, well, okay, if you're going to do that, then it's got to cost more. So, cost more it does. So that's very silly. I'm not sure like why this range was increased, but the only way to fix it is to make the price go up. So, Paras SAS have gone up in price. They used to be a bit... is it the price or the availability? Something's changed there, I'm sure of it. VBL Milan, didn't this used to be 60 and now it's 70? So that's gone up. This used to be cheaper as well, I believe. This has still got good stealth. And I think the Saggy Recon hasn't gone up. I actually don't know. Over here, this thing has gone up. These things are pretty OP, but once again, this balance by division concept is really just not going to work out in the long run, because look at this. You could just... I just looked at that one. VLRA. So this is just the same thing, but slightly less HP and forward deployment, and the forward deployment tax is 15 points, rather than it just being 5 points more. So, you know, it's an interesting change. I can understand the need to nerf the division, but honestly, I think these guys have been buffed. Because of... So the reservists are gone, but these guys are 10 availability now, and you get extra cards of Legionnaires Para, basically. It's basically what's happening there. So, yeah. Not so sure about that. Talking about the other French division, this hasn't really changed at all, except there was one change, and I can't remember where it is. We'll find it. We'll find it. Oh yeah, of course, this has gone up, right? Was that it? I think that might have been it. I think that might have been... Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure this got more expensive. Pretty sure this used to be 195 or something. Don't quote me on that. Wasn't that the change? I seem to remember there being another change, but I don't see it. Oh yeah, the Dragon Paras got 5 points cheaper. That was it. That was the one I was trying to point out. The Dragon Paras got 5 points cheaper, so they're now the same price as the SAS Patrol. And the same availability curve as the SAS Patrol. I think that's the same, probably. So that's that. And yeah, some other changes. The M1A1 has gone up in price by 10 points, which is going to hurt divisions like 11th. And also 11th, the LGBT, because it's the same one as 82nd, is now 1 per card. So that's going to nerf 11th a bit. Were these 150 before? I can't remember. And yeah, that was 110 before. I think everything else is the same. To my knowledge, like these are still the same price, and it's back to that balance by division thing again. Like, why is this the same price as arm rifles? I don't know. I don't think it makes much sense. So, Other people that have been buffed. Oh yeah, the T80 BV is now 5 points more expensive, which is a bit of a joke, really. Needs to be a bit more than that, or nerf this to 8 or 9 rounds per minute. That would really help. That would really help. And yeah, you could still get the normal one for the 15 points less, and the only difference is the ERA. So that's interesting. And Berlin Groper's got a lot of buffs. Probably my new favorite division. And these guys, yeah, so as you can see, the Vaxschutzen got more expensive, but they became more available. So now you can get 4 of them at 2 vet for 5 points more than before, which is a big deal. Motschutz and Metis got their 2 extra Metis, and they also got their extra MG, so this is really decent, really good squad now. And same with the Motschutz and Strela, they got their extra MG, and the Motschutz and SVD, they got their extra MG. So there you go, these squads are now very highly performing, and this division is all about hitting them hard early, making a lot of ground early, and then backing up with the new KDA, which are 10 points less, but they've got like this really, really bad MG. And yeah, they're really good at holding ground because of how cheap they are, but obviously vehicles will mess them up. I think this won't one-shot a one-armor vehicle. Don't quote me on that. It's definitely a big nerf. So that's Berlin Gropers. I don't think anything else has changed here. Oh yeah, this got 5 points less expensive. That's 5 points cheaper. This has gone up. So this went from being a really useful unit at 20 points to having its AP increased by 1 and its ammo count going up. And now it's 50 points. And now it's a useless unit. So yeah, another win for our historical revisionist there. Gets his unit buffed, and then obviously the price goes up, becomes useless again. So I think that's everything there. The next, so obviously KDA has changed a lot as well because of the KDA change, but also Sicherungs I think went up in price, and Reservisten went down in availability. I think that's how they did it, and also the RPGs have changed between these 3. So those 3 units have changed quite a bit. And yeah, all MLRS, many MLRS had their reload times increased a bit. I think it might have just been the cheaper ones. This one definitely went up by another 30 seconds. And yeah, I think these are basically the same. That's the same. That's the same. That's the same. So I think that's it for all the major changes. If I've missed some... Oh yeah, of course, 6Y got nerfed. So the Escortini came down in price by 5 points, but the Urn went up in price by 10 points. And then these things went up in price by like 30 points. They were 185 before, now they're 215. And it is a strong bomber, but I don't know. I mean, if they're going to, on the one hand, if they're going to say, well, look, we're balancing by division, so things cost differently. And on the other hand, they're going to nerf one of the weakest divs in the game because its bomber is too cheap. Also worth noting that the BRDM2 got cheaper, got more expensive and less available. That thing was a bit silly, to be honest. So that is that. I think that's all the divisions. If you think I've missed anything, please leave something in the comments. And I wish you a lovely day. But that's the balance update. In terms of what I think is going to be the next OP division, I think 2nd Panzergren was very, very strong before and will continue to be extremely strong. Were these 235 before? I think they might have been, yeah. Because they just don't run out of stuff and their things haven't really been nerfed this patch. Or changed at all, really. So I think they will continue to be very strong. And yeah, I think they'll be the next top dog div. Also, the M1A1's getting 10 points more expensive is really not breaking the bank here. So I think 11th Cav will still be quite strong. Losing the 2 LGBT will hurt it a little bit. So that's my meta prediction. I think it's going to be 2nd Panzergren all the way. And yeah, I don't think anybody else had any changes. Like, they changed the name of this. This used to be called Dush. No, it's Dush RPG 7. I think everything else here is the same. These things might have changed in price by 10 points. They're always going up or down. Yeah, this is still 260 points for some reason. Very exciting. Very exciting. And in terms of general balance changes, for some reason HE seems to be way better now against units in cover, so maybe that'll fix the building problem. But it also seemed to apply to forests, and also helicopter rockets got a lot better with these 90 points before. That's a lot of points. So yeah, that's my meta prediction. Those are the biggest changes, and I wish you a wonderful day.